Alright, here it is. This is the AH-64D Apache tutorial video that a lot of people in the RHS server have been asking for following the A10 tutorial video that I did last year. I am so glad people actually enjoy that video and want to see and learn more about all the different vehicles and their playstyles. Today we'll look into its weaponry, flight statistics, and its main threats. One thing you have to understand with these tutorials that this is the absolute basics you need to know about the Apache and any other vehicles I do in the future. I will also add in some tips and tricks that have helped me master this thing as we go along today. Main threats. The Tigris, known for its savageness in the server. Tigris will be your primary adversary. Max range of the Tigris is about 4.5 kilometers for its IR guided missiles to lock onto you. People often mistake the Tigris for having radar guided missiles. This isn't the case. They are always heat seeking. It also has the twin 35mm guns on its turret that have a max range of about 3 kilometers. Next up we have the MANPAD, the Man Portable Air Defense Systems. These are always lingering in AO. They can spawn in bunkers and can be powered up from the Mi-8s that spawn if the radar tower is still active. They have a max range of about 2.5 kilometers. Just like the Tigris, they are firing heat-seeking missiles as well. Next up, we have the ZSU-23, or famously known as the Shilka. This thing is basically a Tigris without missiles. It's rather rare to see on the server, so if you do see one, then it's your lucky day. Or actually, maybe it's not. It's got a max range of about 2.5 to 3 kilometers. Its gun radar is known for making annoyingly loud noises on aircraft radar warning receivers in Arma, so if you hear annoying beeps and tones, then it's likely this bad boy. I will go over the last ones fairly quick, as all pose the same threat. ATGMs can easily take down an Apache if the pilot is hovering within 3 kilometers of an AO. The BMPs and tanks of RHS will happily ruin your experience if you're being ignorant to your distance and opponent. If you see any type of armor in AO, make sure you get rid of it ASAP, because not only is it a huge threat to your troops and friendly armor, but it can be a threat to you as well. Last but definitely not least, we have the man carrying a Verona. Now if you main crewman on the server, you'll be very well acquainted with this threat already. It fires a tandem warhead that can reach a range of about 2.5 kilometers. So just like the MANPADs, this guy can spawn in bunkers and be airdropped as well, so watch your distance. That covers all threats. I will quickly run over the max ranges again to jog your memory. So Tigris 4.5, MANPADs 2.5, Shilka 3, Armor with ATGMs 2.5, Verona's 2.5. So anywhere outside those ranges, you should be fine. The IHADS, or Integrated Helmet and Display Sight System, is your best friend in the Apache. To obtain the helmet, you have to grab it in the arsenal, under the helmet category, or you could take it from the Apache's inventory if one is available. I recommend just making a loadout in the arsenal with the IHADS on that loadout. Now I will explain all the symbols on the IHADS to the best of my knowledge. Anything I'm not sure on I will miss out, as I don't want to spread false information about anything. So to begin, we will look up at the top. This is our compass heading. This shows the direction of travel in which the helicopter is moving in. It's not where you are looking with the helmet. Next, let's take a look at the top left of our gunner's box. This is our speed. The speed is calculated in knots, which is the universal formula for all aircraft in real life. Max speed in knots for the Apache is in the mid-range of 170 knots, which translates to about 315 kilometers an hour in a straight line. In a dive, it can easily exceed 400 kilometers in Arma 3, which is nearly twice the speed of the Little Bird's top speed. Next, we will look to the top right of our gunner's box. This is our altitude. This is radar altitude, so it's how far you are from the nearest surface. It's not sea level. This is calculated in feet on the IHADS, just like it would be in real life. Next is the gunner box itself. This has a box within it. The box inside is where your 30mm gun is currently aiming. You will see this move around if you have a gunner in a helicopter with you. It's currently in its default position. Now we will look at the different symbols that IHADS shows for different types of vehicles. The so-called double-sided castle symbol is for heavy armor. This can be things like tanks, BMPs, and Tigrises. The dot symbol is for lighter vehicles such as BTRs, MRAPs, technicals, or cars, if you will, and trucks. The two joined triangles symbol is for helicopters. And finally, the upside down half-finished triangle with a line going through the middle of it is for planes. Your weapon symbols you need to worry about are as follows. Firstly, and most importantly, is the crosshair. You will be using this the most out of everything on the Apache itself. Next are the hydras. Once you select your hydropods, you will notice a symbol similar to the capital letter of an I This is your rocket aiming reticle. To aim your rockets the best you can, aim with the center of the eye. Now if you select manual fire or you are a gunner in the helo, the 30mm gun shows as a circle with 2 external small lines coming out of the top and bottom. Your 30mm gun has a maximum range of 2.5 kilometers. To range your gun, press T on your keyboard. Next are the Hellfire missiles. There is no apparent symbol for the missiles aside from the dotted square surrounding the crosshair. While on the subject of symbols, let's quickly touch on your radar. First of all, to turn the radar on is left control plus R. To extend the screen on your radar, you simply press on the right control key and square bracket that the radar screen is on. So if it's on the left side, it would be right control left bracket, right side is right control right bracket. Now onto the symbols. AA contacts will show as a half circle with a square inside, so things like Tigris and Shilka. Air contacts will show as a triangle, everything else will show as a square. Once you highlight a target in your IHADS with your T key, you will see the target on radar has a 4-corner edge around it, showing which target you have highlighted. You can also see what your target is in the top left of your radar screen. Note that you won't be able to identify your targets if you are outside of 4 kilometers. However, Tigers are an exception. You can see them from 8 kilometers. Hellfires. First, let's understand the abbreviations. LOBL, lock on before launch. LOAL, direct, lock on after launch, direct. LOAL, low, lock on after launch, low. LOAL, high, lock on after launch, high. Which one is best? Lock on before launch. For both laser and radar guided, it's the most reliable in my experience. Lock on after launch means the missile will find the laser after it's been launched, which could lead to it overshooting the lays and missing the target completely. Lock on before launch means the missile already has eyes on the lays before it's even off your rail. It's just waiting for you to press the almighty button. So lock on before launch works best in my opinion. When it comes to radar missiles, lock on before launch also takes the cake. Lock on after launch direct is only good if you're super close range and have no obstructions in the way of you and your target. Lock on before launch will launch a top attack strategy, avoid all obstructions on its way to the target, so lock on before launch for both radar and laser guided Hellfires are the way to go. That was a mouthful. But what is the max range on your missiles? The max range is your max radar range. I've witnessed someone kill a Tigris at 7.8 kilometers with a laser guided Hellfire. However, to be both efficient and safe, I recommend sitting no more than 5.5 kilometers from the AO. Anything above 5.5 is unnecessary and can just prolong each sortie you do. ATAS missiles. ATAS stands for air-to-air stinger. You might think they don't work, however the ATAS requires a clear background to gain a lock. So in my practices, to obtain that lock, I dive down to the deck, lower than the aircraft I'm pursuing, then once it's only sky in the background, I press T onto the aircraft and then I get that lock. Now if the stinger actually hits is the real question. Sometimes they are great, most times they miss. If you have issues with them missing, then peel off, reevaluate the situation, and maybe you can chase the threat down and hit it with your 30mm, or if you're a good shot, your Hydras. Countermeasures. ANALQ-144 is your chaff dispenser. CM burst fires 10 flares in a burst. Timed fires 16 flares through 1 second periods. Timed 16F/4S fires 16 flares through 4 second periods. But which is best for evading missiles? CM burst. I've always dodged missiles with the burst mode, but even then sometimes you'll still get hit. You just have to be prepared for it. What I mean by this is don't just hover somewhere in the sky where there is no cover to dive down into. Should I evade while popping flares? Yes! Or you will die a horrible death and everyone will laugh at you. Burst flares while also evading the missile with erratic maneuvers works best. Things you should know. As a gunner, you will find yourself spending almost half your time checking your map, assessing the battlefield, checking who needs help, where and when. It is your responsibility as the co-pilot to keep both you and your pilot safe while also keeping your ground troops safe from any incoming threats. You will also notice that sometimes terrain can flicker with thermals. Try tinkering with your PIP settings in the main menu of Arma 3. This will allow you to see finer details in the terrain and possibly keep your targets from morphing into the ground when you least want them to. If this doesn't help, make sure you enable grass to full grass in the server's U menu in-game. This will render terrain more precisely, but you will notice a decrease in FPS. A third way is to make sure your terrain setting in your video options is above very high. This can also help render terrain better at distance. With this all being said though, sometimes this issue is unavoidable, so be prepared for it. As a pilot, it is your responsibility to keep a safe distance from the AO. You should have an understanding of each threat and their capabilities, so if you are taking a risk, it's on you, not your gunner. No matter how much they want you to get closer, you are the pilot, it is your aircraft to control. With this being said, you both should be working together as a team. An Apache is only as good as its crew. If you can't operate as a team member, then the Apache isn't for you. As both pilot and gunner, you will soon understand that after the HQ has been destroyed, you can slowly move yourself closer to the AO. When I do sorties, we just stay above 2 kilometers from the AO center. This is so we can start using our 30mm chain gun on any bunkers, infantry squads, or light vehicles. A tip for rearming. When you rearm your Apache, you can rearm much quicker at the ammo truck, instead of waiting the full service in the helicopter service point. Now you might be wondering, but it doesn't let me rearm when I try that. Yes, because your gunner has to exit the helo first. Then you can rearm. It's a weird armor thing, so when you go to rearm, go to the trucks. Tell the gunner to hop out for a sec, then once rearmed, tell him to get back in, and you're sorted. If you're one of those people who like to learn how to solo the Apache, then I recommend you adjust the 30mm down to a position of about -20 to -30, then exit the CPG seat. You can then enter the pilot seat and take off. To check if you are happy with the gun's placement, you have to press right mouse button to access the gun camera. If you are happy, then you can enter manual fire mode. This will give you access to all the CPG weapons such as Hellfires and the 30mm gun. You can use third-party lasers to use the AGM-114Ks, which are the laser guided missiles, with the LOBL mode as we discussed earlier. AGM-114Ls will hit anything providing they are easy enough to hit. The AGM-114Ls are fire and forget. Once you fire them, you can start locking on the target instantly, and the original missile will still hit the original target. This is why there are only 2 on the pylon in the server for balancing reasons. Please note, when you are soloing the Apache, you can't move the gun. This is why you adjust it to a spot you like before takeoff. The more experienced you get soloing, you will find yourself lasing with your own laser, allowing you to use your AGM-114Ks without the need of a third-party laser. However, I must stress that if you are going to solo the Apache, please read up on Rule 3 on the server board at the Arsenal. A tip I have learned over the years I have flown is that if you're struggling to select a target, switch to the 30mm gun, then try selecting it again. Once selected, you can switch back to your missiles. You can launch the AGM-114L missile when your target is selected. As a pilot, you don't require a full lock for the missile to hit its target. You simply select the target, fire the L Hellfire, then when the Hellfire is on its way, it will pick up the target you selected and guide itself to the target. Sometimes when you select the target, the square isn't always a full square. This isn't anything to worry about, just launch as normal. One last thing I want to touch on is, for both crewing and soloing, put a waypoint on friendlies. This makes your life much easier and ensures you know what targets are friendlies and what targets are enemies. So waypoint your friendly troops. If you don't know how to set a waypoint, simply hold left shift and click. To delete the waypoint, press the delete key on your keyboard while hovering over the waypoint. Same goes for markers. And that's it. I know I haven't touched on absolutely everything, but that isn't the point of this video. This video is supposed to set you in the correct direction in becoming a more skilled Apache pilot. It's up to you to continue to learn going forward. Hope this video helped. If any questions, just ask in the Batco Discord or in the comments underneath. See you guys later.